Good evening, everyone. It is 9:38 and it is 88 degrees. Yeah, it is hot. It's hot. I can't stand it anymore. I don't like it this hot, and I don't like that when it rains either. However, I was saying earlier today how I do like the rain, like at night when I'm already home getting ready for bed. Last night it rained like around midnight and I was able to sleep, but then when it stopped I woke up and I thought it was gonna rain today again because that's what the weather thing said, my weather app, but no rain today. It's supposed to rain all next week, which is gonna suck because it's mainly gonna rain like during the day. I don't know about nighttime, but it's mainly gonna rain during the day. And you know what? I have to go to the doctor again because I'm itchy everywhere. I itch everywhere. Like my arms, right now my ears were itching. My eyes were itching earlier. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I suddenly got an allergy to the soap. I use Dial soap to bathe with. I don't use hot water. Well, sometimes I do, but I try not to, and I don't know, like all of a sudden my skin got really dry and flaky, and I'm like, okay, what's going on with me now? And yeah, last time that I went to the doctor, it was for eczema, and she said, no, you don't have that. Everything's fine. And it's a PA. Not that that makes any difference to me because some PAs are really good. But where I go, I don't know. Like, okay. Let me just get into this really quick. Where I go to the doctors, my general practitioner they're both PAs, but my doctor is Dr. Baxter. Last time that I went, which was a week ago, they put me with Dr. Gonzalez. And Dr. Gonzalez was pissing me off because she seems to think that she's now my treating doctor. And she's not. And every time I go in as a walk-in, they put me with her, and she always wants to switch up medications on me or add medications. And she wants me to lose more weight. And I'm like, okay. And that's another thing. Let me get into that really quick too. I was weighing 160 before. And I'm about 5'1" on a good day. And I lost a lot of weight. I got down to 133. Okay? And I was proud of myself. But then that wasn't enough. So all of a sudden, I lost even more weight and I'm 125 now. So I found out. But when I went to the doctor's office, they said I was 130. Yeah, it was 130. Because I remember telling the girl that took my vitals, I said, oh, I lost 3 pounds. And she's like, hey, 3 pounds is 3 pounds. And I'm like, yeah. I said, hopefully I don't gain them back today, And that was on that day. And we were joking around. I went back up to the waiting area, after that, so that they could get a room. And like I said, once I started talking to the doctor and telling her, like, doctor, I'm itchy everywhere, and on the back of my right shoulder, I was getting a rash. I thought it was shingles. Everybody's telling me that it's not shingles, it's eczema. I said, but I itch everywhere. I'm itching on my legs, my arms, my eyes, my ears, my neck, my chin, everywhere. And she's like, it's not eczema. It's your diabetes. Are you taking medications? Are you still taking the medication I prescribed you last time? And I'm looking at her like, you're not my doctor. Like, what are you talking about? What did you prescribe me? And then she starts getting into the history with me, like, well, what other doctor have you seen? And da 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 da. And then I told her about the one with Rybelsus, right? Or Rybelsus, however you say it. And then I told her how that doctor almost put me in the hospital because upping my dose a week later when you're supposed to wait a month later. And she's like, well, I would have started you off at 7 anyway. I wouldn't have started you off at 3. And I said, well, that's not what you're supposed to do. I go by the book. I said, you're supposed to start at 3 milligrams for a month and then go to 7. And then from 7, it's 14. But you have to, like, gradually get there. You don't just put people on whatever you feel like it, you know? And she says, well, everybody says it's really good and yada, 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 and it works wonders. And I said, yeah, well, it almost put me in the hospital. What works for everybody else doesn't work for everybody, you know? And so I'm literally there, like, arguing with her. And then she's like, when was the last time you had a physical? And I said, last year. Why don't we do another one? And I said, no, it's not time yet. And I just kept fighting her, right? And then she was like, what about blood work? Let's do some blood work. And I'm like, no, I'm not prepared for that today. I just came in for this. Like, I need some kind of cream or something, you know? And she's like, well, I can't just prescribe you something when it's probably your diabetes that's causing all this, and we need to get that under control, otherwise it's never going to go away. And I said, I understand that, but for right now, I want this, you know? And then she's like, what about Lipozene? And I'm like, what about it? You know? And she's like, why don't we try that? And I was asking her, what, does it have any side effects? Is it going to ruin my kidneys? And she's like, well, right now I'm more worried about your liver. And I'm like, why are you worried about my liver? Like, there's nothing wrong with my liver. I've had my liver checked out already. And she's like, well, how long ago was that? And I said, last year, when I went to that other doctor. And she's like, well, I think it's time for us to do another one. And then she's finally like, you know what? Fine. She's like, I will give you some cream. I will prescribe you the cream. But this is the last time. Next time, if you want something, we're going to have to do blood work. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Who the hell do you think you are? Like, I'm looking at her like, there is not going to be a next time with you, ma'am. Like, I wasn't even here to see you. You know? So I was like, that's fine. And I was thinking in my head, next time I'm going to see my doctor, Dr. Baxter. And if I can't see her, I am going somewhere else. But I am not coming back with you. She just gave me this impression where she thought she was my treating doctor all of a sudden. And then secondly, to threaten me like that, you know, telling me you're not going to give me anything unless I obey and get blood work done by you and your staff. Who the hell do you think you are? And then also, I know my body, not you. You haven't been treating me. And why are you throwing these medications at me when you haven't even done the blood work? There hasn't been any blood work done here. Like, why are you just throwing me names? Like, what about this? What about that? What about blah, 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 blah? Oh, and another thing she wanted to do was she wanted to put me on Jardiance and metformin at the same time. I'm like, did you not just hear me say that the Rybelsus was a lot for me and almost put me in the hospital? Are you not listening? Like, if you love drugs so much, why don't you take them and let me know how you feel? You know? And I'm like, what is this deal about my liver? Like, there's nothing wrong with my liver. But all those drugs that you want to put me on, guess what? They ruin your kidneys. With long-term use, they ruin your kidneys. And it's also, you're at risk of pancreatic cancer. So I'm like, you're worried about my liver, that there's nothing wrong with my liver. but yet you're not worried about my kidneys or my pancreas? Make that make sense. You know, it's like, get out of here. Like, get the hell out of here. Get out of my face. And I left, and then before I left, the two girls in the front, they're so rude all the time. And you could read the reviews there, and everybody complains about those two girls. And I asked the girl before I left, she was like, did you get any injections, any blood work, any x-rays, anything like that? And I'm like, no. No physical? And I'm like, no. Oh, well then, you're good. You're good to go. And then I was like, can you please tell me who my caring doctor is on the computer? And she's like, it says Baxter. Did you want me to switch you to Gonzalez? And I was like, no, I did not say that at all. I said, I know I saw Gonzalez today because I came in as a walk-in, but I would prefer Dr. Baxter next time. And then they're like, okay. And I left, right? And I was like, thank you, and I left. This medication that she prescribed, this cream, supposedly it ruins your liver, if I understood it correctly. If it wasn't the cream, it was the pills. Because she gave me two. She gave me some antibiotic that you take for 15 days for any like infection or whatever. And then she gave me she prescribed this cream. She didn't give me nothing, right? She prescribed this cream. And the pharmacist told me that the cream was like $30-some, and I'm like, I don't care, I'll take it, you know, I need it. And he's like, well, the only thing is we don't have it in stock. He goes, but we do have something over the counter that has the same ingredients that'll stop the itching, and I can go ahead and when you get here, I'll show it to you, and da-da-da-da-da, right? So I'm like, okay. So I go to the grocery store. He tells me which one it is. I purchase it, and it was $15. And, of course, I get the other medication, the antibiotics, which didn't cost me because my insurance covered it, right? However, neither one of those two have done any justice. I'm still suffering with really dry skin, with this itchy patch that I have in the back of my shoulder. And I'm so uncomfortable, you know, and I haven't spoken about it, you know, but I've been uncomfortable, and yeah, I think it's just time for me to go to either a dermatologist or just another entirely new doctor altogether. The thing is that in my area, bad news, there are no good doctors. All of these doctors suck in my area. I have to drive somewhere else to get better service. Seriously, because look, if you ever come to South Texas, there is a medical clinic like in every corner, okay? Just like a Starbucks. They're everywhere. However, they all suck. They all completely suck. And it's hard to find a good doctor that takes my insurance as well. Not too many doctors like my insurance. I have Ambetter. They put the cross sign with Ambetter because apparently Ambetter takes forever to pay, which is a lie. It is a big fat lie. It's whoever is doing their insurance claims that's not doing it right. That's why Ambetter's taking a long time to pay them. I know this for a fact because my son's girlfriend, when she was working with the psychology office that's very well known, and I asked, oh, you know, do they take Ambetter? And she's like, no. And you know why? It's because whoever was there before, they weren't filing the paperwork right for all the patients. So now Ambetter owes this clinic like thousands of dollars, and I've been filing all these claims the right way, but they're taking a while to pay up because, of course, they have to thoroughly check everything themselves to make sure everything's done right this time, you know? And I said, wow, so that sucks. So I couldn't go there. That's why, now I'm seeing my therapist. In fact, I see her next week on Tuesday. And she's back from, what's it called? Maternity leave. Finally. So yay. However, they didn't call me to tell me she was back. I happened to call because I was feeling really down, and I was like, oh God, I need help, and I finally called, is Miss da-da-da-da-da back? And they're like, and you know what? I'm not even making this up, Miss da-da-da-da. I forgot her name. Oh God, what is her name? Oh yeah, Naomi. And they're like, oh yeah, did you need an appointment? They were like shocked, and I'm like, yes, I've been calling like every month to see if she's back, and they never told me she's back, and I didn't get a call that she's back, even though I left a number for somebody to call me. Okay, well, the next appointment we have won't be till the 28th. And I was like, I'll take it. This was earlier in the month, mind you, so I've had to wait all this month. And finally, it's coming next week. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, that's the way these doctors' offices are around me. And without fail, you will get somebody rude up front. I don't know if they just don't like their job, but they're always rude. They never smile. They're never happy to see you. It's more like, oh, another sick person. Do you have an appointment? Oh, okay. Well, go ahead and have a seat, and they'll call you when they're ready. That's the way they talk to you. And oh, by the way, do you still have the same insurance? Just with attitude. They give you attitude. The medical assistants are a little bit friendlier in the back, but in the front office, they just hate their job. They hate their life. They hate your guts. They hate patients. They're in the wrong field. Anyway, so why am I talking about this? Because I watched Dr. Pimple Popper, and I hate that show. But there was nothing else on, so I'm like, okay, let me give it a try. I'll watch it. Let me get a water break. Hold on. And there was this one instance, and I'm going to try to hurry up now because I only have 4 minutes left. This girl had a bad case of rosacea. However, the first doctor that she went to go see, a dermatologist, they were trying to put her on some medication that she says causes birth defects. And she's like, if I'm trying to get pregnant, I don't want something that's going to cause a birth defect. That's very scary. And so this Dr. Pimple Popper told her, well, then don't try to get pregnant while you're on the medication. That's my first advice. Are you trying to get pregnant now? And she's like, no. And she's like, well, that's actually a very good antibiotic for you. It's very effective. So if you're not trying to get pregnant, I might try to put you on that as well. Is that all right? And she's like, she starts crying, right? And I don't blame this girl for crying at all, because her deal is that whether I'm trying to get pregnant or not, it's not the point. The point is that it causes birth defects. So even if I finish the medication this month and I try to get pregnant next month, it's going to be in the back of my head. Am I okay to get pregnant? Is it still in my system? I understand her worry. And plus, it's her body. And she has a right to make that decision for herself if she doesn't want something that's going to have that side effect. And yes, she does have to decide between her face and getting pregnant. But again, as a patient, it's up to you to decide what's good for you, not the doctor. It's up to you. So then this Dr. Pimple Popper, tells her, okay, look, I'm going to try this antibiotic cream on you. I'm going to try these different antibiotics. Let's try those first. Let's leave the other one as a last resort. But it is very effective. They're all very effective. But let's go ahead and just try the first two, and then, we'll see. So she's like, okay. And so she tried the cream and the other antibiotic, not the birth defect one. And she actually cleared up very well. And even the doctor was like, I'm very pleased, she's doing a lot better. This is her follow-up. This is her before. This is her now. And she's doing surprisingly good on that cream antibiotic that I gave her and this other antibiotic. And she's happy. And the girl was happy. You know, the patient was happy. She was doing videos again. I forgot to mention that she's also a YouTuber. And she was drinking a matcha. Now, let me just mention something really quick. Kombucha, is it kombucha and matcha? I've heard bad things about those two. I did hear, like, a lot of influencers that I used to watch way in the past, back in 2016. They all had bad experiences with those drinks, and they all broke out bad. I don't know what it is. Maybe there's some ingredient that they add to it that is causing their body to react this way, to purge, you know. But I will never try any of those two. There was a time, I'll say this, I went, and this was so freaky, you all. I'm going to say this really quick. When I used to live at the Villas, I would go into their workroom, and one time that I went in there was this girl that had really bad acne on her forehead. Only on her forehead. And I was like, I just looked at her and I was like, oh my goodness, you know, like, and I didn't say nothing to her. I just, you know, I got on the treadmill and everything. Next thing you know, I'm breaking out on my forehead really bad. Okay, so this influencer that I would watch on and off, Christine Lights or something Lights. Anyhow, she was having the same issue where she broke out bad on her forehead too. And I was like, what's going on? What's the deal? You know, her deal was she was drinking kombuchas. My deal was I probably got a fungus from this girl, because there's a fungus that, you know, can grow on your forehead, and it's contagious. Well, she started using Nizoral, and that cleared her up, because she even went to the dermatologist. They gave her all these creams, and it wouldn't clear her up, guys. So then I started using the Nizoral, and finally, oh, thank God, it cleared me up. You know, but I dealt with it for like 2 years, okay? So y'all have to be careful when you go to the gym. I would put my towel on top of the arm thingies of the treadmill, and, you know, hello, don't do that. I learned my lesson. So, long story short, before my son comes out, is always get another opinion when it comes to your health needs. Okay? Whether it's mental, physical, or both, always get a second opinion. If you're not happy with your doctor, your medical doctor, by all means, go get another one. Seek out another one. Same thing with mental health. Sometimes you have to go through so many mental therapists before you find the right one. And there's no shame in it, there's no condemnation, and you shouldn't feel it like that either. There are many people that I have spoken to that have gone through several therapists before they found the right fit. And hopefully this one is my right fit. I'm going back to her, like I said, and but yeah, don't ever just go along with the doctor when they're like, oh, try this, try this, try this, and try this, and let me know how you feel after a month, and you're like almost in the hospital. No, you know your body, and what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for me. But you always have to try to take medication safely, right? And you have to find something that's effective for you. Even if there's so many people that have type 2 diabetes like I do. But what's working for one type 2 diabetes patient is not going to work for me. So with that said, thank you for listening. I hope I don't bore you all when I'm talking. I'm sorry if I do, but thank you for listening. Lots of loves and hugs and healing. Amen. Love you all. Bye.